Ladies and gentlemen, I have another thing here. This is this story close to my heart, and we're going to go back to the Kane story, as you can well imagine, because I haven't even gotten the audio sound bites yet, and they're enlightening and entertaining as well. One of the things that the left attempts to do is to codify elements of their ideology as science. That was what global warming, and many other things as well, all about. Codify liberalism as science, therefore making it irrefutable, making it inarguable. And of course they failed. Everybody knows that it's a hoax, but liberalism the attempt is made frequently to codify liberalism as science or some other unquestionable aspect of life that people just accept on the basis of the credibility of the field that we're talking about. And of course, science, up until the global warming hoax, had almost perfect credibility. If somebody was a scientist and said something, it was automatically believed. Just the way journalists used to. What are you frowning at in there? Nothing to do with me? You got a technical problem in there? Oh, we got a technical problem with the screener program. Does that mean that we won't be able to take calls? Oh, okay. It just means you won't be able to put them up for me. I got it. Anyway, there was a very important and major story that we touched on it yesterday, but there's much more information in the latest AP story that makes this story even more pertinent, especially vis-a-vis the scientific consensus on man-made global warming. And make no mistake, all of that was nothing more than an attempt to codify liberalism as science, to codify political beliefs as science. Dutch professor faked data for years. A prominent Dutch social psychologist who once claimed to have shown that the very act of thinking about eating meat makes people behave more selfishly, has been found to have faked data throughout much of his career. And he was, by the way, lionized and treated as a hero all during his career. In one of the worst cases of scientific fraud on record in the Netherlands, a review committee made up of some of the country's top scientists has found that University of Tilburg professor Diederik Stapel systematically falsified data to achieve the results he wanted, just like what happened at the Hadley Climate Center, University East Anglia, London, i.e. global warming. And so the University of Tilburg has fired the 45-year-old Diederik Stapel and plans to file fraud charges against him, according to the university's spokesman. I have manipulated study data. I have fabricated investigations, he wrote in an open letter published by a newspaper this week. I realize that via this behavior, I have left my direct colleagues stunned and angry and put my field, social psychology, in a poor light. This guy's the Madoff of science. The committee set up to investigate Stapel said that after its preliminary investigation, it had found several dozen publications in which use was made of fictitious data in the period since 2004, although Stapel's career goes back to the early 1990s. This year, Stapel co-authored a paper published in Science magazine that said white people are more prone to discriminate against black people when they encounter them in a messy environment, such as one containing litter, abandoned bicycles, and broken sidewalks. This guy actually reported this as the results of a scientific study. White people are more prone to discriminate against black people when they run up against them in a garbage dump where there are abandoned bicycles and broken sidewalks. And, of course, news people on the left, like at Politico and MSNBC, just ate it up. I mean, they sucked it up. They loved it because it confirmed everything their stupid liberalism has taught them. And there it was now finally codified as science. White devils discriminate against poor Rastus near garbage dumps, broken sidewalks, and littered bicycles. Something as absurd as that was accepted as genuine science, the result of research and study. These findings considerably advance our knowledge of the impact of the physical environment on stereotyping and discrimination and have clear policy implications, said the paper. The findings that white people are more discriminatory against black people in rubbish areas, broken sidewalks, and dilapidated bicycles considerably advances our knowledge of the impact of the physical environment on stereotyping and discrimination and have clear policy implications. Although the paper that linked thoughts of eating meat with antisocial behavior was met with scorn and disbelief when it was published, it took several doctoral candidates Stoppel was mentoring to unmask him. Here's the meat eater story from the fake scientist in the Netherlands. It was published August 30th of this year in something called the Dutch Daily News. And the point of this story was meat eaters are selfish and less social. This is what this guy, Stoppel, Diederik Stoppel, who's now admitted everything he's done the last 5-6 years has been a fraud. Meat brings out the worst in people. This is what psychologists at the Radboud University and Tilburg University concluded from various studies on the psychological significance of beef. Thinking of meat makes people less socially and in many respects more loutish. It also appears that people are more likely to choose meat when they feel insecure, perhaps because it's a feeling of superiority or status displays. Let me make an observation here, folks. I know meat eaters. I am a meat eater. I have never met anybody who feels superior to anybody or anything because they are the now vegetarians and vegans and other wackos who do think they are superior and better and smarter than everybody else. I know gazillions of beef eaters, and I don't know a one of them who has forced his eating choices on anybody else. But I know a bunch of ragtag, stupid vegan vegetarians, holier-than-thou superiorists, who try to force everybody to eat what they eat and to not eat what they don't approve of, such as this bunch of louts demanded in Berkeley, California, that Burger King sell veggie burgers. And, of course, Burger King caved. So lie after lie after lie about white people, other aspects of sociology and science, meat eaters and so forth, and all of it fraudulent. It was a failed attempt to codify liberalism as science. You're eating meat. Now, you think that sounds preposterous, right? It is no more preposterous than some of the absolute BS that we've had to listen to about global warming for 20 years. And that we continue to hear about global warming, or any of this other cockamamie BS about other dietary news the left puts out in an attempt to codify itself as science. The important thing to remember is this guy's writing was accepted, welcomed unanimously by American journalists, worldwide journalists, who reported this with glee when he wrote this about meat eaters. I mean, it's patently ridiculous. But it just goes to show you how gullible people are, or better stated, how desirous the left is for any codification of their asinine beliefs as science.